not what we think, but if you read what the Greeks said they got everything from Egypt. They got all their knowledge from Egypt. Pythagoras spent 15 years in Egypt. And what did he have to do? He probably had to spend 5 years convincing them that he was worthy to get the knowledge that they had.
A continent which its people were living on top of trees, and their main occupation were chasing gazelles, lions, and leopards. Somehow along the line, it's the same continent that started civilization. Let this make sense. I want us to watch this video from Mr. Bruce Stewart. I will be back.
First of all, you cannot study the Egyptians as an archaeologist or as an astronomer or as a philosopher or as an anthropologist. You must put it all together because they put it all together. If you read what the Greeks said, not what we think, but if you read what the Greeks said they got everything from Egypt. They got all their knowledge from Egypt. Pythagoras spent 15 years in Egypt. And what did he have to do? He probably had to spend 5 years convincing them that he was worthy to get the knowledge that they had. Remember, knowledge was power. Knowledge was sacred. Knowledge was something you just didn't publish in the newspapers. Knowledge was guarded very closely because it was of tremendous value. You wouldn't give it to anybody. You would give it to somebody who was willing to shave his head and be a penitent for 5 years, and then you might start to tell him things. Okay? And the Greeks did this. Pythagoras did this. Other Greeks did this. And they said that they got all their knowledge from the Egyptians. Now, when did we come up with the idea that the Greeks created everything from scratch? Well, believe it or not, it happened in the 18th and 19th century. And it's an unfortunate fact of life that Romanticism, which has many great things about it, also has a dark side, which has to do with racism. And in the 18th and 19th century, it was decided that it was just not appropriate for all this knowledge to come from an African country. Where would that knowledge, if it survived to the time of the Roman Empire, where would it have been kept? Yes. In Alexandria, in the museum, the library at Alexandria. And what happened to the library? It was burned in a war. Okay? And at that point, what happened to those books that were burned? If they were written in living languages, there was a scholar someplace who had memorized the book and could just write it down again. But if it was in a dead language, like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, end of story. Can't be reconstructed.
One thing that can make Africans, one thing that can help this continent progress is knowing who we are, knowing where we come from, and knowing what we have achieved for a very long time. And that is what we have lost for centuries. Africans has lost our pride. We have lost our pride, and we don't even know our history. And that is one thing that has affected this continent. Most of the times, people will just be saying that, oh, the colonialism has stopped for centuries, or slavery has stopped for centuries. So how come this continent was colonized by the Britain, or colonized by the Spanish, or colonized by the Portuguese, and their after the colonization, they are able to pick themselves up. Countries like China or India, they are able to pick themselves up and they are able to do wonders. But still, Africans keep blaming the Western countries for this same act. But what they don't know is you can see when they colonized China or when they colonized India, they did not lose their culture. They did not wipe their history. They still have their history. They still have their culture. So they have some self-pride, and progress comes from self-pride. If you are proud of yourselves, you easily progress because you believe in yourself to understand that, yes, with my knowledge and with what I have come to meet, or with what my ancestors has left me, I can use that thing to be a stepping stone to progress to other to progress forward. Let me put it in that manner. So if people make all these accusations of African being playing victims, or black people being playing victims, yes, it comes with a whole lot of things. It's not just we being playing victims, but we have realized that we don't have culture, we don't have history, we don't have anything which can serve as a stepping stone to be able to progress. We have been stripped off from our culture. We have been brainwashed from our history. Our history books has been bent down. We don't have history. The history currently, the only history we have is about slavery, about all these captains that came to Africa to invade Africa. When you go to school, you are not going to learn any other history than what the whites have told us. And that is what is affecting Africa or any other black person. That is what we don't have history. We don't have anything to pride ourselves of. The only thing we have is history about our defeats. History that projects Western countries as our slave masters. That is what has been happening. And that has affected our way of thinking. That has affected everything African. Currently, you come to where I come from, and the only thing you are going to hear is how people projecting a foreign language, foreign culture over their own local language. That is the problem we are facing. So what we really need is getting back our history, getting to learn about who we were for us to gain our pride back. We cannot move forward if we don't know where we are coming from. We are always going to blame ourselves. We are always going to think we are nothing. We are nothing closer to a white man, or we are nothing closer to the Western countries. Now, majority of Africans are running away to Western countries to seek for greener pasture because they don't even believe in themselves. The talent they have, they think they can't achieve anything in Africa, and the only place they can survive, and the surviving is where they can get hand to mouth, not to be able to project their talent or project their innovative ideologies, but where to get a manual job. So majority don't believe in themselves, and they run away to foreign countries, they run away to Western countries to succeed. Different form of slavery is also happening, but we don't know. These are things we have to start addressing. Most of the time, some people will say we are talking without action, but what we need is more education, more liberation, more enlightenment before we can take any decision. Majority of us are still in the shackles of slavery. We need to learn our history. We need to understand where we come from. We need to know who we were before we can move forward. And that is what we need at the moment. Because whenever we try to move forward, we take 10 steps forward, then we take 20 steps backwards. Things are not working out. And it's about time we get our self-pride back. It's about time we know our history. It's about time we understand where we are coming from to know where we are going. Please join my Telegram group by going to my description box. Click on the Telegram link to take you to the platform. Join us for us to discuss about the well-being of Africa and Africans in diaspora. If today is also your first time coming to this channel, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that anytime I upload any great content, you will be notified. I'm always your guy, De-Graft Amoako. Thanks for watching.